Hi, my name is David Roth and I'm currently a senior at Radford University. I'm majoring in marketing and business management. And throughout my life, I've had a knowledge and passion for the sports industry. So I thought, what would be a better way to show my knowledge and passion than conduct my own personal fantasy football mock draft? This is something my friends and I participate in every year and millions of people nationwide. So without further ado, here's David Roth's own personal fantasy football mock draft. Coming in with my first overall pick, we have Minnesota Vikings running back Adrian Peterson. Adrian has been a consistent fantasy running back since his rookie year in the league. This season he was able to amass over 1,600 total yards and 13 touchdowns. I believe his stats would have been higher if the Vikings had a consistent passing game, but we all know Brett Favre had his own personal issues he was dealing with. Coming in at number 2, we have Tennessee Titans running back Chris Johnson. Now he didn't quite have the 2,000 rushing yard season he did the year before, but nevertheless he still had over 1,600 total yards and 12 touchdowns. He also dealt with the same problem as Adrian Peterson, with the Titans having the lack of a consistent passing game. He's still a great dual threat running back. He can run the ball up the middle, he can catch the ball in the backfield, and he can take it the distance every time he touches the ball. In most fantasy football mock drafts, you'll see Adrian Peterson go number 1 and Chris Johnson go number 2. At number 3, I have this year's fantasy football breakout player, Houston Texans running back Arian Foster. Arian Foster was the only running back in the league that had over 2,000 total yards and had 18 touchdowns. Both were Houston Texans team records. Now some of you rookie fantasy football players might see that he had the most fantasy stats, but the reason I still have Adrian Peterson and Chris Johnson over him is because fantasy football is about consistency. And these two have proved themselves that they are valuable fantasy options. If Arian Foster is able to put up these type of numbers for years to come, then that is when you consider taking him above. But for now, I have him 3rd on my big board. At number 4, I have Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Michael Vick. Now all you Redskins fans know what he did to you on Monday Night Football. This season, Vick was the 3rd highest fantasy scoring quarterback, and he was only 19 points behind Tom Brady. Vick did this in only 12 games played this season. He had 30 total touchdowns, 9 were rushing, and had over 670 yards on the ground. One thing you should love about Michael Vick's fantasy value is not only he can get you value at the quarterback position, but he is also a lethal fantasy option at the running back position. Coming in at number 5, we all know New England's quarterback Tom Brady, who is most likely going to be this year's NFL MVP. Tom Brady had 36 total touchdowns and only 4 interceptions. He led the league in passer rating with 111, and looks like he will be the best quarterback this year behind Michael Vick. One thing fantasy football owners should love about Tom Brady is he does not turn the ball over, and that is key for fantasy success. Coming in next, we have the human bowling ball, Jacksonville Jaguars running back Maurice Jones-Drew. Mojo has been a great fantasy football option since his rookie season in the NFL. He's a great goal line back. This season, he had over 1,300 rushing yards in only 14 games played. If you got a mid to late first round pick and he's still there, I suggest you take him. Coming in next, we have Kansas City Chiefs running back Jamal Charles. Jamal Charles is only 24 years old and averaged over 6 yards per carry and amassed over 1,900 total yards and 8 touchdowns. And remember, he shared the ball with Thomas Jones this year. And Thomas Jones is getting up in age, so I suspect Jamal Charles to get a bulk load of the carries next year and possibly be the top overall fantasy running back next year. He also just signed that 5-year, $32 million contract, so you know he's going to have some incentives he's going to be playing for. Coming in next, I have Baltimore Ravens running back Ray Rice. As Merrill Hodge would say, a factor back. He can catch the ball in the backfield, he can run up the middle. He did get off to a slow start this season, but still had over 1,700 total yards. He's the Ravens' best offensive player, and when he catches the ball, he makes plays happen. Coming in next, I have Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers leads one of the top passing attacks in the NFL. He had 32 touchdowns this year, and he has a great vertical deep threat in Greg Jennings, and he also did this without one of the top tight ends in the NFL, Gerald Michael Finley. Coming in next, we have Andre Johnson, my number 1 wide receiver. He's led the NFL in receiving 2 out of the past 3 years. He's a great vertical threat and is also one of the top wide receiver and one of the top passing offenses in the NFL. Next, we have Michael the Burner Turner. People had questioned of him coming in this past season after an injury-prone season, but was still able to prove that he's a valuable fantasy option. He had 12 touchdowns this year, and looks like he's still going to be a solid fantasy player. If you have like a 10th to 12th pick and Michael Turner is still there, take him. He's a great value pick. Coming in next, we have Philadelphia Eagles running back LeSean McCoy. In only his second year in the league, LeSean McCoy had over 1,600 total yards and 9 touchdowns. He's another dual threat running back. Can run the ball up the middle, can catch the ball in the backfield, can make big plays when he has the ball in his hands. So in conclusion, this is David Roth's personal fantasy football mock draft. I've laid out the foundation and key to success. If you follow this, I guarantee you, I'll see you at the championship game.
Hey, y'all.